more people play Fortnite than basketball and football combined, right? That's one game that's being played by two of the biggest sports in the world, right? And that just tells you how we play, how we work, how we meet people. And now with NFTs, our assets are also going online. We're spending more and more of our time in the digital realm. And slowly, as we reach this time, that's when we're living into the metaverse.
How's it, everybody? Welcome to another groundbreaking episode of Exponential Africa, where we dive deep into the transformative realms of digital ownership and the metaverse. Today, we're joined by tech visionary Evan Luthra, who's a Forbes 30 under 30 entrepreneur. He's a leading figure in the world of NFTs and digital ecosystems. Is a serial entrepreneur, having invested in hundreds of companies, and speaks around the world as a leading thought leader on blockchain, NFTs, the metaverse, and digital ownership. And Evan's going to help us explore how these technologies are reshaping our perceptions of ownership, value, and interaction in this increasingly digital world. Join us as we uncover this disruptive potential of these innovations and what they mean for the future. And with that, let me welcome Evan to the stage. Evan, great to be with you.
Thank you, Mick. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me over, and really appreciate you giving us your time. And thank you, everybody, for listening and listening and joining. Hope you guys get some value by the end of this, and hope you guys are more interested in Metaverse and NFTs. Let's get started.
And I know you travel around the world. Where are you in this part of the world at the moment?
I am right now in beautiful Bangkok in Thailand. You can see behind me right now in Thailand, in Asia. Going to be here for a couple more days, and then we'll be flying out to another part of the world.
Amazing. I mean, how much do you travel for the work?
Very often, man. Very often. I've been doing less and less this year, but the last 10 years, though, I've been pretty much traveling over 100 flights every year, except the COVID years. Traveled all over the place, spoken at over 200 events in 20 plus countries about blockchain, about Web3, pushing the movement forward, getting as many people onboarded as much as possible. I like traveling. Everything I know, everything I learn is actually from traveling. When I travel, I meet new interesting people. I learn from them. I find new opportunities which may not be available before. So I really enjoy this. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
That's so awesome, man. I mean, we actually met on a plane. We actually also met on a plane on the way
to
Portugal.
Met on a plane.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Going to an event actually about Web3. So that fits right in. Yeah.
Incredible. And I mean, so how did your journey of this digital ownership start? What made you want to get into this world? And as a young entrepreneur, I know you've been doing this since your teen years. And what sort of sparked your interest in NFTs and the metaverse?
So I've been in technology since a pretty early on. I was always interested in technology since a very young age. I started when I was 12 years old, first writing a blog became the most read blog on LinkedIn's blogging platform Pulse. Eventually got into mobile apps, one of the first few hundred people to build apps for the iPhone. Then also was early into Google. I was one of the first 10 people in the world to actually build us a Google Glass. So in 2014, after having my first exit, I was living in San Francisco. I already had a few 100,000 followers by then. I had started speaking for TED, had done my first TV show, and Coinbase was giving $5 to revenue users. And that was my first interaction with Bitcoin. And that's when I got first involved in the Web3 space. Didn't get deeply involved back then. Didn't realize the true potential of Bitcoin. I wish I did, but bought a lot more. It was under $300 at that time, right? But wow. I still stayed involved. I was in the space. I was in the technology space. Was early investing in still investing actively in Web2 companies, in VR and AR and other tech companies. During this journey, I ended up investing in more and more companies that end up going into Web3, right? So I was a seed investor in a company called Ripple Labs, which ended up doing XRP, Swirls, which ended up launching Hedera. And these deals made me believe that Web3 is definitely where I want to be full time. So since 2017, haven't really looked back, been fully focused on the Web3 movement, been pushing the movement forward as much as I can. I write for all the media, Cointelegraph, Forbes, Entrepreneur, Hacker Noon, Bean Crypto, then some other publications. I have now 2 million followers. So the last few years, just been very deeply involved in the digital space, in the digital asset space, investing in 500 plus companies pre-listing, pre-launch. So these are companies which haven't launched yet, right? So investing in 500 plus Web3 companies. and then helping a few of them come to market. And during 2021, when I'd already made a lot of success, a lot of the companies I invested had already done very well, was when I started looking into NFTs and Metaverse. I was quite bullish on Metaverse quite early. I actually talked about why Play to Earn gaming will bring in a lot of adoption into the Web3 space before the last bull market came around, before Facebook changed its name to Meta. So I was talking about this. I was writing articles about this, and I published content around this everywhere on social media. And I believed in that for a long time, right? And that's what happened. I advised some of the top tier gaming projects. They ended up doing really, really well. Nakamoto Games, one of the top leading projects in the early last bull market, Crypto Mon. So these top gaming projects that came out and did really, really well. And that's what we saw the last bull market. The main reason, the main adoption was from Play to Earn. And during this journey, then came into NFTs. I was a little bit late into buying these. So NFTs, I bought a lot of them when I came in. I started in December 2021, bought my first Bored Ape. It was still over, the floor price was well over $200,000 by then. But
Wow.
I was like, this is the future, so I want to be in it. And I bought my one ape. I got more interested. I bought a few more, ended up buying 7 Bored Apes, spending $2 million just in December. And then ended up buying some more punks, some doodles, some Azuki, some Clonexes, and basically ended up building this nice NFT collection because I enjoyed it. For me, NFTs, at least the digital art side of NFTs, has mostly just been about collecting, and that's what I was doing. And yeah, that's been the journey. It's been very, very interesting. I've never looked at NFTs the way to make money, or like this is something that I want to make a lot of profit from. I've mostly been collecting NFTs and digital art as an art collector. I've always been interested in art, right? When I travel, I collected art from over 50 different countries, like real physical art. When I travel, I love to collect art and meet all these emerging artists. I don't mean like famous artists. I mean like upcoming artists, street artists that I like, and then I pick up their pieces. But now I have so many of these pieces that I cannot really display, and they're sitting in my storage, right? So I think NFTs is just a better way. It's like you can support these artists that you like. You can get involved with them, and then you find out that you can even display them. You can show them on your digital collection. It's a lot easier to display digital art than it is to do, and also easier to transport, right? You can go to different parts of the world and take it from there.
Definitely, man. I just love that how you got into this whole space. And if you at Singularity, we try to say, how do you get ahead of the curve, and how do you actually embrace these technologies so that you can be a leader in the future? And if you just think about what you've done 10 years ago, or when you started, to now, and now you've got this collection of these incredible NFTs and a great portfolio and a bunch of investments into some successful companies. You really, by starting as an early adopter, by pinpointing that opportunity.
I was very interested in technology at all times, right? Since, like I said, since an early age, and I just love to get involved and see how technology is disrupting everything we see around us, right? For me, like a lot of the early success I had was because I used mobile apps and built apps to solve problems around me. I built the first app for Delhi Metro, which became one of the most downloaded apps in India. A lot of people to plan their route when they use the Delhi subway. I built the first ever IC Cricket World Cup in 2011. Had millions of downloads, right? It was a simple app. I wanted to use the technology that Apple had offered and build an app that people could follow the IC Cricket World Cup. The actual company had not launched their own app when I launched mine, and it became the top 3 app in countries like Australia, countries like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, UK, wherever cricket is played, right? So that went great. And yeah, so I mean, I was always solving problems, and I always use technology to do that. To me, technology is a great way to make things and processes more efficient around us, right? And that's what I've been looking at, and that's what even when I invest today, I look at how people are using technology to fix a problem or to solve a solution, and that's paid off really well.
Really, really incredible. And I think, just by having the balls and the courage to get into something that isn't already a mature industry or well developed, just based on the fundamentals and the promise of what this technology could bring, like we're seeing now with artificial intelligence. Robotics is going to be the next big platform, blockchain as a platform, 3D, these new platforms that are emerging that we're going to encapsulate all of our lives and all of our industries. You touched on it a little bit about this impact you're seeing with NFTs and why you bought art. How do you see NFTs sort of changing the landscape of digital ownership? There's been a lot of hype. Started off with this massive hype cycle. Now we're in this trough of disillusionment. But a lot of people like Yatsu believes they're going to come back. They're still early. What's some of the most exciting developments you've seen in the space?
So, I mean, NFT as a technology, it's right. When you talk about NFTs, right, there's NFT as a technology, the non-fungible technology. That's the layer itself, right? That itself, I think, is a great game-changing technology, and it's going to be adopted in a very fast pace, and it's going to be everywhere before we know it, right? I think, and then there's the NFTs, of digital art, right? That's like the NFTs that I bought, like the Bored Apes or the Crypto Punks or the OMBs or stuff like that. So these are two. When you talk about NFTs, you got to separate the two, right? So I think uh, the NFTs, to prove digital ownership, the technology is not going anywhere. I think it's going to completely disrupt the way how we authenticate and prove ownership of digital assets. So I think this part of NFT as a technology is going to be here for a long time. I think your driving license, your passport, your land records, all of these things will eventually become an NFT, will become a non-fungible token on the blockchain. And I think it's a better form, right? Like there's a lot of land fraud that can be gone away with, your ID fraud. All that goes away when you bring it all on chain and you make it all transparent. So I think that by itself is not going anywhere anytime soon. I think we're only going to see more and more companies, more and more governments, more and more institutional organizations adopting this technology and using NFTs to give out and prove ownership and prove authentication. And I think this is just, and people on the front may not even know that. They may just be interacting with the app, and on the back end that's an NFT. uh where I think about the apes and the digital art, I think that's definitely like a hype cycle, and that is just like any other art. Not an NFT, just any other art, right? There's value is in the eye of the beholder. Why is a Mona Lisa worth hundreds of millions, or why is a Picasso worth tens of millions? And why is, I don't know, the painting made by the guy next door not worth the same amount? Is because people believe in that value, right? Why is this watch worth a certain price, and why a Casio is not worth that price? It's because we give that value. So that value is definitely narrative driven. But I don't think the narrative is going anywhere anytime soon. I think we're still getting started. We got to give it time, right? The end of the day, the narrative is only as strong as the brand and the community behind it. And building a brand and building community takes time. These things don't happen overnight, right? Building brand and building community definitely takes its own sweet time. And when that happens, that's when we will know for long which ones will survive and which ones will not be around. But I've been going around in Thailand to shopping malls around here, and I've been seeing statues of BYC, like a $25,000 US dollar statue for sale. BYC. I've been seeing T-shirts and prints of BYC for sale, right? In the actual shop, I sell my own BYC clothing, right? But I was surprised to see, like, actually, like in the shopping malls out here in Thailand that I've seen, and other countries also, where I've seen BYC actually breaking into the culture. And that's happening. It's happening at a big scale. And you got to remember, these are still very, very new brands, and it takes time. And I'm seeing what's
Absolutely.
happening is, like, there's new revenue streams coming from existing brands that are partnering with this. For example, Gucci is partnering with the Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? Dolce Gabbana is leveraging NFTs for new marketing and revenue opportunities, limited edition digital products, virtual experiences, and collectibles that have opened up new innovative ways for brands to engage with their audiences. So all of that is very, very exciting, right? And all these brands, like I just mentioned, Dolce Gabbana and Gucci, but there's probably many more that don't come on top of my head, that are using NFTs, working with other NFT collections to grow their brand and to cater to larger audiences. And I think the concept of owning virtual real estate, like digital land and virtual worlds and metaverse, has also gained significant traction. Platforms like Sandbox, Decentraland, Nakaverse allow users to buy and sell and develop virtual real estate, and that creates a whole new market for this virtual property, which I think is very, very exciting, right? So there's this whole discussion that we can go into where about the whole virtual real estate, and then we can go into discussion about tokenization of real world real estate as NFT, right? This both are different use cases, the same technology, but they have both very different applications. And but there's a lot of people that I have invested in companies that are working on both sides. I own a lot of real estate in the metaverse. I have actually owned real estate in multiple different metaverses. It has not performed as well. I have lost a lot of money on that, but it's okay, right? Because it takes time to grow. It's like, I think it's like investing in property in like New York in the 1800s, right? Or Paris early on. Why are these properties worth more today? Why is Bangkok worth more than somewhere else in Thailand? It's because more people are around here, right? More people want to be here. I think it's the same with metaverses. Eventually, we're going to see the metaverses where more and more people spend time. Those are the ones that will eventually win, and they will win in a very big way. I think that's going to be very, very exciting. So I think yeah, so to me that's very exciting. I actually think like the metaverse is, I like to explain the meta when people like to think of metaverse as this place, as a virtual place, right, that they live in. I like to think of metaverse as this moment in time when the virtual world or the virtual life matters more to us than our physical life. Because what you realize, what's really happening over the last few years and couple decades, is that slowly and slowly we're moving in this digital world. Our friends, how do you meet more people? Now you meet people, instead of meeting people on real life, you meet people in Reddit, you meet people on Tinder. How many of us actually know our real life neighbors? We don't really know anymore. How do you go to work? You go work on Zoom calls. You work, there's, I haven't walked into my office in 8 months, right? And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I like working like this, right? I like to be have my freedom. The way we work, the way we play, more people play Fortnite than basketball and football combined, right? That's one game that's being played by two of the biggest sports in the world, right? And that just tells you how we play, how we work, how we meet people. And now with NFTs, how we, our assets are also going online. What matters more to you? How you look like in real life or how you look like on Instagram? For most people, what matters more is how they look like on Instagram. Like like the dish Fortnite skins are like the new skinny jeans, or like, like Bored Apes are like the new Rolex. That's what it really is. End of the day, it's basically a digital status. And I think we're spending more and more of our time in the digital realm. And slowly, as we reach this time, that's when we're living into the metaverse. And that to me is a very exciting part. And it's only getting, and it's only a matter of time, right? And I think it's also very exciting. One thing that I didn't really touch on right now is that most people actually tend to overlook, that I have actually come to realize from my own experiences, is that NFTs actually solve a really, really big problem. And that's the problem of loneliness. NFTs solve the problem of loneliness. And loneliness is $1 trillion problem. Right now, you could go to anywhere in the world, and most people are actually very lonely. And I could go anywhere in the world, and I could go into the BYC group or the Doodles group or in the CloneX group and like, hey guys, I'm here. Who wants to hang out? And I could always find a friend, right? And this is a major problem that NFTs are solving, is that loneliness. You can find your community. You can find something that you're passionate about and connect with that same community and find friends and hang out and be a community member, right? A lot of the time people look at NFTs when the prices go down and they're like, oh, now you're left as a community member. But that's not a downside. You have people that you can connect with that have similar interests with you, and you can build with them. You can do a lot more cool things with them. I think that's a major problem that most people tend to overlook, is that NFTs can really solve his loneliness. Well, it's hard to put a tangible value on this problem, but it's worth a lot. That's what I can tell you. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, I love that. I really love that. I think there's this explosion of of use cases, like you mentioned. Also, another one is digital certification. You're not going to be able
100%.
to fraud your certificate
100%. So
or your skill.
that's what I talked about, right? I didn't go deeper into that. I said that you can go into tokenization of real estate or real world asset is a big, big deal, right? I am invested in over 5 different companies and advising a few companies that are doing exactly this. Like NFTs are being used to represent ownership of real world assets like real estate, cars, physical art, that can simply transfer ownership and make it more accessible and transparent, right? You can easily, so a company invested called EstateX or called Propy. These are all companies. They're doing tokenization of real world asset, right? So you can buy an NFT that claims, or that's backed by a real world asset. But unlike right now, if I want to sell a land, it's paperwork and lawyers and accountants and weeks or days, months of work. In NFTs, you tap of a button and the ownership changes hands very quickly, very efficiently, and it's all on chain and it's all legal, it's all legit, it's already been done, right? It's already been done. It just hasn't been adopted at a massive scale, and that's what is coming next. It's already being happening at a massive scale. There's another company called ArtFi that I invest in that's tokenizing fine art, right? So you can buy a Picasso, but what they're taking a step further. They're basically breaking up Picasso into 1,000 different pieces, so you can buy a piece of a Picasso, right? And then
Amazing.
somebody who's not able to afford Picasso but believes in it, believes in the vision, can have at least some upside in the growth of the asset too. Doesn't have to have the full millions. Now can buy a small for a small fraction. You can buy a small fraction of a Picasso. So I think these are really, really interesting things and exciting developments that are happening in the NFT space. Dynamic NFTs are also great achievement that we're just coming into seeing, that NFTs can change over time. Your ID, right? Your ID, as you grow older, your ID changes. A land record, once it gets built on, the NFT itself changes. Legal regulation is happening, and recognition is coming at a very, very fast pace for NFTs. So I think it's very, very exciting. I think we are in for a very, very, very exciting time.
Yeah, it's incredible what's coming, and I love all of those different examples because they are real world practical applications today of things that are happening. And there's so much we can dive deeper into the space. We are short on time. I just want to quickly ask you two more questions around what are some of the challenges we're facing at the moment. What are these hurdles? Like adoption is a major challenge. What are some of the challenges? Are there infrastructure or technology challenges at the moment?
I mean, so there is definitely adoption is, like you said, is the major challenge, right? Is to get people, because remember the infrastructure is still being built, right? The technology is still being built, and once the infrastructure, the base layer is built, then they start working on making it easier for access. It is still not easy for somebody like my mother to go and download a MetaMask and then create a private key, a seed phrase, and be able to save it and be careful with not getting it leaked, and then not have a forget password option, right? Those things, like to really true ownership, we have to even question, are people ready for that, right? So that is even a question by itself. So I think there's definitely challenges, and then the blockchain limitation by itself, right? We're seeing scalability issues. That's why we're seeing this year has been so many L2s and L3s coming out. I've invested in over a dozen different blockchains just in the last couple of months because they're all trying to fix the same problem, right? Scalability issues and network upgrades. How do you get it to a point where this is actually usable for the 8 billion people simultaneously, and there's no issues in terms of transactions per second, right? And then also the price fluctuation, the speculation nature. A lot of that is like the value of NFTs can be highly volatile with prices changing very fast. Like the volatility can deter like investors and collectors. So it can overshadow genuine utility and artistic value, leading to concerns like bubbles and market sustainability. So I think like there are definitely big challenges, and also security. Security is a big concern, right? Hacks and scams, digital thefts. Just yesterday, I found out that one of the companies that I invested in, the founder was hacked, and I just connected with the company, and now we're trying to catch the hacker. So hacking and scams is a very big concern, I think, and security concerns, and people got to be careful. Yes, it's a great way to prove ownership, but two, people are still not as secure as they should be. And as we're going to move from a world that's very physical to digital, I think there is going to be this time of learning and that adoption that needs to be there. We have to give to the people to really understand in the best way. But yeah, and also, I mean, the technical barriers, right? Well, that's what what we're seeing in the AI space is basically the biggest challenge right now is a technical barrier, hardware requirements, right? The Apple Vision Pro, right? I mean, it's great. I have it here right next to me, and I love to use it, but how many people can actually afford it? It's $3,500. Like, so not that many people can actually afford buying these devices and actually buying these chips. So I mean, I believe the Vision Pro is a great device and I love using it, but I think it's still, I'm not, the average person cannot afford it at this point. Let's just say that. So I think it's still a little bit of a time before we see the connectivity, the hardware requirements, the interoperability, the privacy, the security, all this coming together. But these are not challenges that cannot be fixed. It's only a question of time. Dude, like I only believe these challenges are opportunities actually for people to come in and fix these challenges and capitalize on that. That's why I'm investing in companies who are actually fixing these challenges every other day. So that's what I would say is a big way. I think is a good opportunity. Is a great opportunity right now, and every challenge that we have right now is actually an opportunity. And to overcome these challenges, I think the industry just needs to focus on innovation, development. Focus on getting some more regulatory clarity. Even though I'm the one who believes build first and then ask later, it's get more awareness out there, get some education out there. I think that's what you're working on, right? Getting the more events and conferences, getting more people aware, and collaborating. The reason I love to be in the Web3 space and work in the Web3 space is that it's the best space for collaboration. You get to work with the coolest people and most smartest people in the world who are all here to work together and make the world a better place for everybody. That's why I originally got involved in Bitcoin in the first place, because Bitcoin to me is about giving power back to the people, right? It's finally a way that you can take power away from the centralized institutions. You can take power away from the governments and but you even have to step back and ask, why do you need governments? Why do you need these banks? You need banks and governments to enable trade, to enable business to take place. Somebody from India or Thailand wants to do business with somebody from Africa, and that's why you need a bank and government to enable this trade. But what's happened in the last few decades is that these banks and governments have become extremely corrupt. The banks and governments, you can't really trust them. The last few decades, they're only serving themselves. So Bitcoin really takes the power away from these people. Now we don't need to have this centralized institution that we need to trust. If I trust you, you trust me. We trust each other. We build a network. It's peer-to-peer trust, and that's the best way about it. And I think that's the best thing about Bitcoin, and that's why I'm very bullish on it long term. So yeah, every challenge here is an opportunity, and I think the full potential of the metaverse and NFTs is very, very exciting.
Fantastic, man. I really love it. I think there was some real gems in there and some great insights. And we're really looking forward to welcoming you to the Singularity South Africa Summit in October, where Evan will be hitting our shores of South Africa and joining the summit as a keynote speaker. And thank you for your time. And we're going to be following your journey. Just to end off, where can people follow you or follow your journey?
I'm very approachable. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter. You can reach out to me on, Instagram and Twitter. That's the best way. Or if you can join my Telegram channel, Evan Luthra VIP. These are the best ways to get involved and stay involved.
Brilliant, Ev. Well, thanks so much. We really appreciate your time, and thanks to everybody who's been watching. Hope you've enjoyed this enlightening journey through the evolving landscape of NFTs, digital ownership, and the metaverse with the amazing Evan Luthra. Can you believe he's only 29? I think he's going to really help shape the future, in these different industries. And today's discussion was not only highlighted the potential of these technologies, but also challenged us to how to rethink how we interact with this digital world. And I really hope that you love this episode. Make sure to subscribe to Exponential Africa for more insights on how technology is reshaping our reality. Until next time, keep smiling and catch you on the next one. Cheers.